Hi, I'm Michael Kurosh. I live in Santa Barbara, California, one of the most beautiful places on earth. My design center is where people come to reimagine their homes and spaces. I work with the best designers, clients with broad tastes, and experts who navigate the fascinating world of design. I'm always excited to learn something new, and I never say no to a challenge. This is Design Santa Barbara. Welcome to Design Santa Barbara. I'm Michael Kurosh, and today we are in the Murphy Auto Museum with David. Thank you so very much for having us. It's an exciting place, and maybe kindly tell us what is about your museum and how it can be experienced, this beautiful
Sure.
place.
Well, thank you very much for visiting us. And we're 14,000 square foot of museum, just downtown from the downtown core of Oxnard. And we have a collection of antique and vintage automobiles, as well as vintage trailers. We have an art gallery, which is the only museum in the country we know of that has an art gallery, as well as vintage Americana, vintage camping, and a tiki room. So we have a lot of ecosystems in this museum that help the experience for the folks coming to visit us. And as you saw earlier in our tour, we have a Barbie bathroom and an Area 51 bathroom. So every square inch of this museum is devoted to the user experience, the guest experience, and we like to put smiles on people's faces. But part of our job is to educate people about the automobile and its place in American history. So our wide range of cars from 1910 up to present day does a pretty good job of doing that.
Beautiful place, and I saw a couple of your cars that don't exist anywhere else in the world.
Correct.
And I saw those beautiful trailers that they are crazy nice.
Yes.
Oh, how do you call it? Glamming?
So glamping.
Glamping.
The
There
big
you
thing
go.
right now.
If you want to know what glamping is, come here. David will show you.
Yep. Or visit us on www.murphyautomuseum.org.
And I remember you said they can come with groups or they can come just by themselves. And actually, the admission is not that expensive.
So $10 per person for folks who are 13 years or older. We do have annual memberships, which are good for 2 people for 365 days from when you bought it, so a full year. And those are available to visit as many times as you want at the museum. And we also do group tours during the week. Really only open Saturday and Sunday, but if the group is large enough, we will open during the week.
Beautiful. So David, let's look at some more cars.
Okay.
The beautiful collection you have here.
I got more to show you, so let's go.
It. I'm excited.
Okay, this is a 1965 Lancia. Lancia is an Italian car. They were later bought by Fiat, and they didn't body their cars. They went out and got their cars bodied. And this one was bodied by Pininfarina, which is a very, very famous Italian coach maker. This car has a beautiful silver color, beautiful red leather interior, manual transmissions, V6, drives like the wind, and we really enjoy having that car, which was donated to us. So that car is part of our permanent collection. This is a 1965 Porsche 356C. This is the last year of this body style, and from there Porsche came out with the 911 and the 912. This is actually a one-owner car. It's been owned in Santa Barbara its whole life. Their father bought it, gave it to the daughter to drive through high school and college. It was dented, banged, broke down. They restored it, and it's been sitting here in our museum for several years. They come to visit the car every now and then. It is a pristine example of a 356C. It's perfect in every way, and we're glad to have it here in our museum as part of our collection. This is a 1929 Ford Model A. Everyone is familiar with the Model T, which was the first car that Henry Ford mass-produced. The Model A was the successor to the Model T. This car is owned by a private collector in Ventura. It is expertly restored, it runs perfectly, and it's been modified with a trailer hitch because it pulls something very, very special that's matching behind this car, and we want to show that to you as well. This is a Calliope. It is a hand-built trailer, handmade trailer from a mechanical engineer who also owns the Ford car that we just saw that tows the Calliope. This Calliope can be plugged into electricity if there's electricity nearby, or it comes with its own power source, a generator that generates electricity. This Calliope could be played from a pianist who can play it like a normal piano, or it has a reel-to-reel paper that the Calliope will play, which is enchanting for children and adults to watch, as there's nobody there actually playing the Calliope. It's just the system moving the keys as it goes through the paper reader, and the Calliope makes wonderful sound and brings joy to people.
Such an amazing collection and such beautiful cars. When we come back, we will see some muscle cars. It's been an interesting time for all of us. It was difficult to be separated from the world, but I was incredibly lucky to be able to spend much time with my family. Being home for so long showed us just how important our living spaces are and why proper design is essential. If you are ready to redefine your living space, come in and see me. It would be my honor to help you. We are Santa Barbara Design Center at 410 Olive Street, and we are ready. This week on Michael's Minute, we're going to be talking about my favorite subject, rugs. Every designer will tell you to start from the rug up. It's the key. We have personally curated a rug collection of thousands, and with over 100 combined years of design experience, we can help you find the perfect rug for your space. And if you absolutely have to look online, go to santabarbaradc.com or rugsamore.com, find the perfect rug, then come in here and see it in person. I will gladly show it to you myself. And with all our rugs 50% off, our prices can't be beat. Come into 410 Olive Street and let us help you find your rug. This week on Design FYI, we're going to talk about sofas and the unknown mistakes people make. Did you know average American spends 46 minutes a day in a car? But they spend 5 hours and 4 minutes on average on a sofa. So why would you go out there and spend tens of thousands of dollars for something you use for 46 minutes and then go ahead and buy something cheap that you sit on it for 5 hours and 4 minutes? At Santa Barbara Design Center, we create your custom sofa that is made for you specifically and to your shape and size and comfort and your family. So when you're sitting and watching TV or talking and conversing with your friends, you're sitting on actually something that represents you. Your car represents you, why shouldn't your sofa? Thank you for joining us on Design FYI this week, and please come see me at Santa Barbara Design Center, 410 Olive, and let me help you find the right sofa for you and your family. This week on Michael's Minute, we are going to talk about rug cleaning and restoration. A fine rug is a family treasure often passed on from generation to generation. Rugs need to be properly taken care of to ensure their survival and protect your investment. At Santa Barbara Design Center, we are the foremost experts in professional cleaning, repairing, and preserving your rugs. Rugs should be hand washed every 3 to 5 years to maintain the structure. When was the last time you washed your rugs? Proper cleaning can extend extend the longevity of your rug, whereas steam cleaning can damage it. Restorations by Rugs & More include hand stitching, fixing fringes and sides, and reviving worn pile. For the finest restoration and cleaning, bring your rugs into Rugs & More at Santa Barbara Design Center today, 410 Olive Street. Welcome back to Design Santa Barbara. We are at the Murphy Auto Museum. Thank you for having us, David. About American muscle cars.
Yep.
Tell us.
We have quite a few. This is one of our favorites. This is a 1967 Pontiac GTO. This is the first generation of GTO. Earlier we saw the DeLoreans, the small display cases of DeLoreans that we have here at the museum. What your audience may not know is that John DeLorean actually worked for General Motors. He was a big executive with General Motors, and this car was his brainchild. So we didn't have a John DeLorean, we wouldn't have a Back to the Future car, and we wouldn't have the Pontiac GTO. This one is stunning. It has a big V8 engine, automatic transmission, beautiful green paint color, and this one is a convertible, which makes this car even more of a joy to drive living here in sunny California.
Do you get to drive these at all?
I do. This one, I have a relationship with the owner to where he says, the car doesn't do any good just sitting there, you're welcome to take the car out. So we take this car and drive around the block from time to time.
Slowly, I'm getting jealous. Maybe I apply for your job, my friend.
And then immediately behind it, we have a 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. So Mopar, as you know, and a lot of your viewership knows, Mopar was really into muscle cars. And they gave the Plymouth division a car called the Roadrunner. It was literally named after the Warner Brothers Coyote Roadrunner. And
the cartoon?
The cartoon. And Mopar actually paid Warner Brothers $50,000 for the rights of the meep meep horn sound. And so a true Roadrunner car, when you honk the horn, it has the meep meep sound just like the Roadrunner.
That's interesting.
And we have a beautiful one. It's a 383 factory engine with a 4-speed manual transmission, factory air conditioning, and factory tack, which is very, very rare. This car was restored in 1980, and it looks like it was restored yesterday. It's one of my absolute favorite muscle cars in here. I wish it was mine, but it belongs to a private collector.
It's almost yours when you get to drive it.
Yes.
So they pay the bills, you get to do it fun. You're ahead. All right, now tell us about the Corvettes, and those are the American icons.
Yes. Nobody doesn't like a Corvette, and we have quite a few in here. Our oldest is a 1954 Corvette, which is the first generation Corvette. That's owned by the same family since
What
new.
year did they start to make Corvettes?
1953. It was a design from Harley Earl, who was the big GM designer who gave us a lot of iconic cars. The Corvette's probably his most famous contribution to General Motors and the car-loving public. But we have a 54, which has been owned by the same family since new. It was owned by the Morris family of the Morris Chevrolet out in Fillmore and also Simi Valley. They sold the Simi Valley store many years ago, and they just sold the Fillmore store to Leo Bunnan. And this car was in the showroom. It was always in the showroom at William Morris Chevrolet in Fillmore. And when it was sold to Leo Bunnan, the car made it over here. So it's still owned by the same family. It's like it left the factory. It does have a few dents and dings, but it's totally unrestored. It's a bone stock original, and that brings a lot of value to Corvette collectors.
It's fantastic. And do you have another one there?
Then up on the rack, we have
I know you have more there.
We
I
have
just
a
want you to
couple
tell
more
them
back
about
there, but I got to tell you about the 1966 that we have up on the rack. It's a 1966 silver color, black interior. That's owned by the original family since new. So that was bought by a newlywed couple.
And that actually means a lot nowadays in car collecting business.
It sure
Just the
does.
provenance, and then if you know the original owner and you know you don't have that many hands changed, is worth a lot more than a car that has been on the road and changed many times.
So cars of original owners, or where you can trace the ownership, bring more money. Back in those days, Corvettes were just a car you drove to work, and that's what happened with this family. The husband
Not
drove
drive
it
to work. Come on.
And of course he's passed, and so the widow owns the car, and she comes to see the car about once a year, but it is a beautiful car, and again, we're glad to have it here in our museum.
Wonderful. And the last one?
And the last one is a 64 Corvette that is red with a black top, and a convertible Corvette is always the way to go if you like Corvettes living in California. or if you're 6'6" like me, because that way it's a car I can fit in. And that Corvette has a 4-speed manual transmission, a big block motor, and it's another fun car to drive.
All right, and you had another great Mustang over there.
So we're bookended with Mustangs. We have the one we saw earlier, the 71, and we also have an original 64.5 that was actually originally sold to Santa Barbara. Its original owner came to our museum about 2 years ago because she heard it was here. It was indeed her car, but she had sold it and now belongs to a guy in Somis, California. That's a maroon exterior with a black interior, automatic transmission, and I've driven that car around. Again, it's a convertible, makes it easier for me, and it's a really, really fun car to drive. There's just muscle cars, you can't beat them.
You cannot, and they're beautiful and they're iconic for our culture and country. David, this is fantastic. When we come back, we're gonna look at some more older cars. Although these were old, we're talking about older cars.
Yes.
Stay tuned, we'll be back right after this break. How many times in the last year have you said to yourself, I really need a new sofa? Spending so much time at home lately, you deserve the most comfortable furniture. At Santa Barbara Design Center's massive showroom, we have numerous selections of sofas and sectionals that you can take home today. Or we can custom build your dream sofa. We make the most comfortable and stylish sofas and sectionals in the industry today. Just ask the top designers in Santa Barbara. They use our sofas and sectionals in their projects because they know clients are beyond satisfied with the results. For a decision as important as this, don't go online or buy from a catalog photo. Come into 410 Olive Street and let our experienced team help you find the perfect fit for your home. Trust me, you want to sit on it before you buy. Today on Design FYI, we're gonna talk about what not to buy when you're going shopping for rugs. Most big outlets or national chains, they sell nowadays hand-tufted rugs. This sounds like it's hand knotted, it's done by hand, but actually they are not. It's called hand-tufted and is actually a gun that rolls the wool around the warp, and they are not good rugs at all. So this is a sample we're having here for you to see. Anything that has a backing like this, flip your rugs over at home, see if it has a backing, is absolutely not good. So what it does is it hides what they did below this thing, which is a latex glue, which actually is toxin. And if you have got any rugs over the net, I hate to say it, over the net, because it's easy to sell and they're inexpensive, you buy these things over the internet. So when it comes to your house, they smell. Have you noticed that? They smell more like a gasoline or more like a diesel because they don't let the latex cure. And the latex that glues this wool to this backing smells a lot. On top of that, they shed quite a lot. The wool is cheap because they need to be inexpensive and they shed. I would not recommend you to get anything, again, that has a backing and is glued because it comes apart very easily. It is temporary. It is not a green product because they wear very quickly, end up in the fill, and just basically as a landfill junk we are adding to our planet. The things I would recommend you to get, unlike these things that have backing, is the rugs that they have nuts to them. So as what to buy, I highly recommend you to get some rugs that they are hand knotted. And how you can see, flip it to the back and you can see the knots are done individually and each one is slightly different than the next one because they're done by hand and the intensity of the wool and the pull they have the weaver makes them look different. Also the sides are done by hand. That you can see very easily. If you want to buy a real rug, please come to Santa Barbara Design Center and I can gladly help you. Thank you for joining us on Design FYI, Santa Barbara Design Center, 410 Olive. My grandfather taught me about the beauty of the rugs. Each one tells a story. Story about the person who wove it, the person who bought it, the person who inherits it, the person who treasures it. It's amazing how simply looking at an object can bring you back to a different place and time, or remind you of someone you love. At Santa Barbara Design Center, we want to help you find a rug that will travel through time with your family for generations to come. Visit us at 410 Olive Street and find your treasure today. This has been a wonderful tour, David. Appreciate it so much. Tell us about this 1910 Duro.
So a 1910 Duro car, this is the oldest car we have in our collection. And there's a theme that's going on around here, which you've probably picked up on, and that is we have a lot of cars that are one owner or original families. This car is the original family, 1910. Grandpa bought it brand new. He took his new bride. They rode around in it, actually went up to Sierra Nevadas a couple of times. It is now owned by the granddaughter, and this car is unique in that it was manufactured in Los Angeles.
This car was manufactured in Los Angeles.
That is correct.
1910.
That's correct. Most of this car is made of wood. So the frame is made of wood, the sides are made of wood, the fenders are made of metal, the running board's made of metal, but the interior is original with the horsehair stuffing behind. And Jay Leno, who's a friend of the museum, he rolled through here about 3 years ago. He saw this car. As most of your viewership knows, he's a big pre-war guy and brass cars, and he really liked this car. So this car has a definite fan base, and we're glad to have it here.
It's fantastic. To Sierra Nevada drove with this thing, those guys have lots of guts.
Sure.
All right. So next we have?
So now we have some Model Ts. So we referenced Model Ts earlier. It's the first car that Henry Ford mass produced, and we have two right in back of me. We have a pickup, and then we have a four-door open car. The open car is a 1917, the pickup's a 1927, which was about the final run of the Model Ts. These are both owned by private collectors in the area, but we get a lot of smiles with Model Ts. And we have a few others as well, but these are the two that are perhaps the oldest and get a lot of looks from visitors here.
And we had a most interesting Bentley out here.
Yes.
And
so
please tell us about that.
We talked about cars with provenance. This car was actually in the La Carrera Panamericana, which was in Latin America. This car was in that race in 1995. We actually have the suit that was worn by the driver. The driver, who's 85 now, lives in Pacific Palisades. He still owns this car. This car has a built-in roll cage. This car has 5-point seat belts. It's a Bentley, but it's a race car, so it's amazing and it's fun to drive. I have driven that car myself.
Sounds good. And last but not least?
So we have a French car in here, a 1924 Delage. Perhaps your audience may have not heard of a Delage. It's not as famous as the Bugatti or some of the other fancy French cars, but just like the Rolls-Royce that we saw in an earlier segment, this car has a boat tail and it's made of wood in the back. And 1924 was a long time ago, but they were making these cars in France, and you'll see it has a little area in the back like a rumble seat to ride in, so it holds about 3 people, but it's very rare. That's owned by a family in Los Angeles who allow us to care for the car for them up here in Oxnard.
Fantastic. And did I mistaken, or did we see a Woody up front?
So you saw a 1953 Buick.
Can we go
Super
stand in
Woody.
front of it and shoot it?
I think we should go take a look at that now.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. All right, David, I'm always fascinated with these Woodies. Can you tell us what are they, and probably tell us why did you use wood?
Sure. So we have actually 3 in here right now. The one we're standing in front of is a 1953 Buick Super Woody. This is the last year Buick made a Woody. And there are 10 known to exist. There were about 1,830 made in total. Makes this car very rare. You guessed it, this is the original family car. This car has been the family since brand new, and the owners are out of Toluca Lake, so we're very glad to keep this car here for them and store it for them. Nice thing, interesting fact about Woodies, Ford was the only manufacturer who was vertically integrated, who did all their woodwork and their coach work in shop. Everybody else farmed out their woody work. This one by a company called Ionia. There's a 52 Suburban Woody here in the museum. It was done by the Campbell Coachwork Company in New York. And then we have a Morris Minor Woody. Who knows where they got their coach work done? That car was done in England. But we do have some great Woodies here. Part of our museum experience. So if folks like Woodies, then they'll like coming to the Murphy Auto Museum.
Why did they use wood instead of the metal?
Just something different to use. It goes back to pre-war, and actually it goes back to Henry Ford and his depot hack, which is before they had a station wagon. It was just a carrier of people, and it was made of wood. So it kind of gets its spring from there, and it fell out of favor by the mid 1950s. But of course, many car manufacturers kept doing it with vinyl. Think about the Ford Country Squire, think about the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Those are all vinyl Woodies, but there's still a place in everyone's heart for a Woody car.
It has been a wonderful 2 weeks. It's an amazing experience, lots of cars. Tell again, please, one more time to our viewers how to get here
Sure.
and give your website. And
So the Murphy Auto Museum is located at 1930 Eastman Avenue in Oxnard. We're open every Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. And we invite folks to go to our website at www.murphyautomuseum.org for constant updates on what's going on here at the museum.
And also, it's not only cars, American memorabilia, we have the muscle cars, but we also have the die-cast cars out there.
So we have die-cast cars, we have a model train, we have Americana camping items, we have our tiki room, our fireball gallery, and of course we have our Area 51 bathroom and our Barbie bathroom.
They're all worth visiting. It's not that far. Come here, and he's world of knowledge. You will enjoy the museum, see the cars, and take something home that you will never forget.
All right.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you for
appreciate
coming.
it, and looking forward to see you again.
Great, thank you very much.
Now we are heading back to Santa Barbara. We had a great time in the Murphy Auto Museum. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Looking forward to see you next week.